What's going on, people? Welcome back to Ball Talk. My name is Noah, and as always, I'm here with Lewis, and we're also joined by footballer, goalkeeper, madman, Ollie today. And this is one of our insight episodes where we find out everything about the footballing world from these two right here. Today, we're talking cash money, boys.
Yes.
No pressure. You need to spill some secrets, though. So let's get straight into growing up, kind of in the footballing world, but you're not a footballer yet. What did you think life as a footballer would be like financially?
As a young teenager growing up, I thought footballers were just basically the richest people on earth.
Yeah.
And once you're a footballer, like, that's it. Money's never an issue.
Sorted.
Yeah. Of like all footballers, basically. That's what I originally thought, but obviously that's not the case.
Yeah.
I would agree with that. My mindset is the same. You've grown up going to be a footballer, you think you're rich,
of course,
famous, and you think you never have to worry about money.
Absolutely. And I think
not the case.
Even, well, you say like any level, if someone said like I'm a footballer, even if they said Morecambe, no disrespect,
like
you'd
a
be
pro
like
footballer.
Cash.
Yeah,
absolutely. But maybe not the case.
No.
So can we break down the difference in wages between like Premier League, Championship, League Two? What's the gap really like?
Yeah. Well, I suppose, like, let's say even if we go from like National League, Ollie, you might know the rough average wage of the National League.
It's not, obviously I don't know the top of my head, but I think it's anything from, I think it's the highest paid players, depending on the club as well, because there's some big clubs in National League, but anything from maybe £1,000 a week up to £1,200, £1,500 a week.
Yeah.
It's probably, it's a very good wage.
Very nice.
Yeah, I reckon the average is lower though.
But it can also, that's the highest one, but the average could be £500 a week, 600, 700, 800. It depends on who you are, what club you're at, and all of those things come into it as well.
Yeah. And players in National League can / normally have like jobs on the side as well, right?
Yeah, they can do, but a lot of National League now is full time, innit?
If you're a full time club, some people might have their own coaching set.
Got you.
Do that on the side, but if it's a full time club, they won't work like another job because that takes up all their time.
£1,000 a week is not something to turn your nose up at, is it? No, it's nice money, that.
But it's also like you hear professional footballer, and then £1,000 a week is what, 50k a year.
Yeah.
And you're thinking, like, as I just said, I'm thinking they're earning much more than that.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
If they're still classed as a pro.
And what we'll get into, I think, is the issue is what happens after. Because that's not generational wealth, is it? But we'll get onto that in a bit. If we're talking like...
Sorry, wait. I've looked up, so League Two average weekly wage is £2,000.
£2,000 a week.
Yeah.
So £8,000 a month.
Yeah.
About 90k a year.
It's a lovely wage.
It is.
But it doesn't obviously last.
Exactly.
Forever.
Yeah.
League One, do you want to have a guess?
That was League Two.
Yeah.
League One, a week.
I'm surprised by this. Yeah.
I'm going to go...
This is according to 888 Sports Betting.
£4,000?
Says £7,000.
Woof.
Whoa.
For the average, which I was not...
That's nice.
Wasn't expecting that. I've been in League One and I was nowhere near that.
Got below average Ollie,
I struggle to believe that £7,000 is the average wage of a League One player.
That would be a high paid player, I would think.
Yeah, because now we're talking like £30,000 a month, aren't we?
That's from League Two.
And then I've gone average wage for the Championship football.
Yeah.
It says ranges, so it don't give you the average. From 5 to 30 per week, the average.
30 per week Championship. But surely we're talking like the big boys that were like Jamie Vardy and that. Then do you know what I mean? We're not. That's not every Championship player, is it?
No, so I think £5,000 is the lower end players and £30,000 is the higher end players.
Cool.
Yeah, they'll be like the big boys like Sheffield United.
Yeah.
Come down.
Yeah.
Relegated. It'll be those kind of players.
And then Premier League.
Yeah, I didn't get look at but we hear that every week.
It's like 50, 60 grand, isn't it, average a week?
Yeah, they're all right.
That's nice, isn't it?
It's not bad, that, is it?
That's nice. When you were at Palace, was it known what people were on? Like, we're talking your big boys,
some of them I would know, yeah.
Yeah, and are you just knowing that from like the media or insider knowledge?
No, it's not like, sometimes it's just talk around the training ground. Yeah. Like, you'd hear it from members of staff.
Got you.
And you'd hear generally after they've just signed a contract that they're on this roughly.
Okay.
But you could hear, like, there might be somewhere I hear it from Sky Sports News, but do you believe that all the time?
Yeah,
and you're not going up to Wilfred Zaha saying 100k a week sounds all right, doesn't it?
Yeah. No chance you're doing that.
He'd be like, fuck off.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah.
So we kind of jumped into it a bit.
Yeah.
But how long is most player contracts? Because we were just talking, £2,000 a week is lovely, right? And you take that at your corporate job.
Yeah.
However, you could have that corporate job for 40 years.
Yeah.
Player contracts are not 40 years long. What are we talking?
Yeah, I mean, I see this online the other week, and it's like everyone talks about how glamorous a footballer's lifestyle is, and it is obviously, it can be really glamorous.
Yeah.
But as we just seen, if you go down to League One, League Two, you're a pro footballer. Mm-hmm. You're earning average, let's say, between £1,000 and £4,000 a week, mm-hmm. and you're doing that all on between 1 and 3 year contracts.
Yeah.
So if they're earning similar to, like, I don't know, who earns like a similar wage, a doctor.
Yeah.
A doctor's going to then have that wage secured for the rest of their life until they retire at 65 or 60. Mm-hmm. A footballer, every 1 to 3 years, has got to worry that he might not get another contract. He could get injured on that last year and that money stops.
Yeah.
You also got to pay 45% tax, which is the same for everyone, but then agent fees goes 5%. So you're seeing half of it. And a lot of people, like in a lot of, let's say, a family, the man would pay for the woman, right? Mm-hmm. But in football, it happens more because you're travelling all over the country, all over the world.
Hard for a partner to get a job, isn't it?
It's hard for a partner to get a job. So you're seeing your expenses are through the roof. And then you've, at best, going to have to stop that income at 35.
Yeah.
So what are you going to do after that?
Yeah.
So it's actually not as glamorous as you think, unless you're earning like the stupid Premier League wages where you can just, that money can carry you through.
Yeah, absolutely. I think what we should say is a good point to say now. We're not saying like, poor footballers, by the way.
No, we are. I'm saying that
because you're one of them.
No, but it's like for
we're talking reality. Aren't we?
Yeah. But for like League One and below, and even Champ, like it's not poor footballers, but it's almost like stop glamorising what they're doing in terms of like just because they're earning so much, because you don't know the full picture of it.
And you never see on Sky Sports League One player earns this much a week, do you? No. You don't see on Twitter like, how can he be doing this for £2,000 a week?
Yeah.
You don't get that.
No, you don't.
So you kind of, I think when you think footballers, you just think everyone's minted.
Yeah, that's it.
And
that's still not the case.
It's not the case at all.
It really isn't.
You jumped into like what can be taken off of a salary, like agent fees and that.
Yeah.
Don't even think about that, but that would really piss me off.
Yeah, it's dropped down to like 5% now, I think, like last couple of years. But it used to be 10%.
I think so.
Yeah.
Really?
Quite a bit, yeah.
So they just take 10% of your wage for basically sorting out the deal.
Sorting the deal, so you have to worry about it.
Yeah.
The legal side of it as well.
But, so, I mean, sometimes they're, especially when you're young, I think sometimes they can sort of just take that 5% from the club and it don't come out of your wage. Yeah.
But that'd be a good idea.
Yeah, that was always the case with me.
Yeah, same.
But that's the same. But I know it can, like, I think as you get older, it can be like they just take it out from your.
You also have to pay the tax on it as well.
Yeah,
I've been hit with that bill a couple of years ago.
Not nice.
It wasn't loads of money because I wasn't on loads of money. But it was, you have to pay the club pay it. It's that 5%, and you pay the tax
on the 5%.
Whatever that may be.
Yeah.
Got hit with that one year. I was like, whoa, what's this? And then it got explained to me that's how it works. You got to pay the tax on it. So that's also a thing that people may not know about.
Yeah,
I think that's the thing as well. I got paid something the other day, and I thought I knew what was coming in, and I was like, "That's lovely."
Yeah.
It just gets hit, doesn't it?
Yeah.
And I imagine if you're on like £2,000 a week and you think, "Oh, that's pretty good," then that gets cut down to £1,200 a week because of taxes, and then it goes down a bit more because of agent fees, and then you're starting to be a bit like, "Oh, it's not as good as it sounds, isn't it?"
Yeah.
But you can bump your numbers up a bit, right? Yes. Bonuses. We've spoken a little bit about bonuses. And you've said when you're playing, you don't think about them. I'd be thinking about them.
I think about them. No, it's different. I'm a goalie, so I'd have a clean sheet bonus.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Per game. So I'm going, if it's 88th minute, we're 1-0 up, I'm going, do not concede.
Yeah.
What, so you're thinking during the game about that bonus?
A little bit. The last 5 to 10 minutes, for example, one club I was at was like £100.
Yeah.
I mean, I wasn't on great money. It makes a difference. You're going, £100 end of the month. That's, say I've had 3 clean sheets this month. That's 300 extra quid.
Yeah.
It adds up. So you're thinking it lasts like 5 to 10 minutes. If you're not conceded, I'm going to.
If you're like 5-0 up and a goal goes in,
I'm going to not concede anyway because I'm a goalkeeper.
Well, yeah, that as well. I'm like, lads, don't concede, and they're the same. They've got the defenders will have a clean sheet bonus.
Yeah.
They're like, don't concede, don't concede, don't concede. And after the game, we go, oh, look at that, we bonus in.
Yeah.
Like let's go out
and spend it that
during
night.
The game. I'm not screaming during the game. Don't concede. I want
I've got £100 on this, lads.
I'm not doing that. But in your back of your head, you're going, I keep a clean sheet here.
Yeah.
We win the game, 3 points, brilliant. you get some players will have win bonus,
Yep.
appearance bonus, goal scoring bonus, clean sheet bonus.
Yes.
So sometimes if you win clean sheet, appearance, you're going, what a day,
Absolutely.
what a day at the office that was.
Yeah, absolutely.
Do you get what was that? What level was that at? National League.
National League, yeah.
Did you get that? Your bonuses at the end of the year?
End of the month.
Oh, so it's not like Prem.
Not like France. You got it at the end of the month. So
Yeah.
some months were very good.
Yeah.
Other months not so good.
Yeah.
Or just normal. Do you know what I mean? But
It shows they work though, because if you're all, it's motivating you more.
100%.
Yeah.
I think it would be very easy if you're 6-0 up to switch off, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
If you're thinking, there's a last minute corner here.
Okay. Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And especially at that level, do you know what I mean? You can earn good money, but I wasn't on great money. So those bonuses made, at the end of the month, made a really good, big difference to me.
Yeah.
Helped me out at times. And so he gets that extra motivation to not concede, not to do anything stupid, to stay concentrated for the full 90 minutes.
It's not like greed. It's just to help you, like.
It's just help to live, pay the bills.
Live,
It helps in any sales job.
Yeah.
Bonuses, don't you? Even though you get paid.
Well, that's it, isn't it?
It makes a lot of sense. And I think this will be a question primarily for you, Lewis.
Yep.
Injury.
Yeah.
You've had a bit.
Yeah, I've had a few. Yeah.
Yeah.
I actually had one just last year.
Just one big one. Yeah. How much does that sit in the back of your mind, like knowing that? I mean, you wouldn't have known, but as soon as like a big injury happens, I've not got $5,000 a week coming in now. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
That could end a career.
Yeah, like I said before, that's the one thing people don't realise is no security with your football career.
Yeah.
I know players who are in the Premier League, like established Premier League footballers, that still worry about like
really,
almost. You always have that thought in the back of your mind that this can just get taken from me, and because there's so many reasons it can, injury, going off form, but if you have like 2-year contract or less, you're always thinking, right, I can't get a big injury, otherwise I could be stuck with no money coming.
Yeah.
Well, I've seen it happen at National League level.
Yeah.
Like I say, it's one of my last teammates. Was it third game before the season finished? Tears his ACL.
Yeah.
Out of contract. Doesn't get renewed. He was on loan from us. Contract doesn't get renewed, and that's coming with ACL. They're a good club. They're doing his rehab for him, surgery paid for, but he's not earning any money.
Yeah.
He's like, that's a year out.
Yeah.
What am I going to do?
That's really rough.
And most people will have to do something.
Yeah.
Like he's got to now go, while he's trying to get back, he's got to then go and find something else to do and earn money.
And then try and do his rehab and then got married, mortgage, kids. So you've got responsibilities just like that gone.
Yeah, it's mad, isn't it?
Do you think that is why a lot of like people at National League have side hustles?
Yeah.
Because like if that goes, although it's not loads of money, it's currently your only income. Do you know what I mean? So
it is, and also a lot of I include a lot of people at that level, probably like Football League as well, have insurance.
Yeah, you need insurance.
Pay for insurance. So say, obviously I don't know, I've got insurance. I think if I had an ACL injury, I think I'd get 10 grand, 8 grand paid out, which is meant to help.
But you have to get that sorted early because
I've had it for the last 3 or 4 years, and I think it's £15 a month, whatever.
Right, okay.
It's a whole range of different injuries and pays
that.
So it's just there to help you obviously pay the bills, pay for operations, and whatnot. And then obviously being a footballer, you're part of the PFA.
Yeah,
they look after you well.
They look after you well as well.
Right, okay.
Each player has a budget they can spend on injuries or operations on, and they can go to St George's Park, where England, and do rehab there for a couple of weeks. And so they look after you as well. So
that's good.
Most players will have these things set up where, if worst case happens, they at least should be able to have a little bit of help.
Yeah, of course.
But you, like, for example, me, let's say I was to start playing football today again.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be able to get my knees insured.
No.
Or if I did, it'd cost a fucking 100 grand.
Yeah, because
just because of the history of it.
Yeah. But you'd be earning £100 a week, so.
Yeah, I'd pay it, bro.
We're there. I have actually. Do you know what's funny? You say that. I have seen that. That advert has come up on my social media.
Yeah. For what?
Obviously, athlete.
Yeah.
For like the insurance.
Oh right, yeah.
If it comes out, if you play sport, you need to be insured. And I've been like, well, what's the point in that? Someone at like National League level, perfect.
Yeah. Well, David Beckham, I'm pretty sure he famously got his right foot insured for like if something happened to his right foot, he would have got paid like 10 million.
Yeah, I think, which I always thought was made up.
Yeah, no, he would have got it insured 100%.
What part of your body would you get insured? Be sensible.
It'd have to be one of Well, I'd have to get my knees insured, really.
Yeah, that is true.
But before that, it would just be like, I suppose one of your feet or both your feet.
Would you get your hands insured?
Probably would, yeah.
Yeah.
I can't be a goalie,
That's
but
what
my
gets
hands,
it, yeah.
hands, can I? So I probably wouldn't insure my hands.
That's funny, isn't it?
Yeah, what about you?
Face, mate.
Yeah,
Face,
mouth.
yeah, beautiful. Right, let's get back to kind of comparing it to real life jobs. Because I think there is a massive, obviously doctors, nurses should get paid more, right? We know that. But comparing a footballer earning 3k a week to a doctor or a lawyer on similar wage, immediately you go, well, the doctor should be on much more than them, right? Or a lot of people do.
Yeah.
Does that wind you up? Because you know that it could last 5 years.
Yeah, it does wind me up when people say, "Oh, the doctor should be earning more," because, like I said, it's such a short career. And I've known a footballer he was like a footballer for 13, 14 years. Every single one of his contracts was 1 year long.
Mm-hmm.
Like, only footballers will understand that's like almost the stress that can bring when you're trying to pay your bills.
Yeah.
Because 1 year contracts are not nice.
Yeah.
Because there's no security there.
Yeah.
Unless it's like your choice to do the 1 year.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know what I mean? So yeah, I think it does piss me off.
Yeah, there's so much security, I think, with a long-term job and even things like pension.
Yeah.
What happens?
To be fair, a footballer's pension is good.
Is it?
Like in terms of like the rate and stuff like that, they do look after you. Obviously, it's shorter.
Yeah, but again, it's so short, isn't it?
Yeah, just imagining like a normal office job that you have a fairly decent percentage chance that you're on a 1 year contract and it might not get renewed every single year.
Yeah.
And it's like so many different things that can stop it.
Yeah.
How much would everyone be complaining about that?
Yeah, absolutely.
People would lose their shit.
Yeah.
Yet they can moan at footballers for saying you're like the most privileged people in the world.
100%.
Which they can be, but yeah.
But the people don't understand unless you're in it. Like I say, the last 4 or 5 years, I've been 1 year contracts.
Yeah.
Really?
And it's horrible.
Yeah.
You sign your contract, go, whew, wait off, and then you get to April time.
Yeah, I was going to say, how early does it kick
it's probably
in?
like December, isn't it?
It's December time. You're
Yeah.
going,
Yeah.
uh-oh, what am I doing? The contract's up in 6 months.
Yeah.
What am I doing now? And then
Shitting
longer
yourself.
goes on. Then
You can't enjoy it, can you?
My example is, my last contract expired 5th of May.
Mm-hmm.
Last game of the season. So since 5th of May, I ain't earned a penny.
Yeah.
And what we're on now, we're end of June, and it's like you've got to take these considerations in. Some people do it to 30th of June, some people do it last game of the season. You've got to make sure you save up during the year that you're okay.
Yeah.
Or some people work on the side during the off season. There's loads of other things you've got to worry about to just to pay the bills.
Of course. So if you don't mind me asking on that, what do you do? Like, do you know what I mean? Because obviously it's worrying. End of the season, last game, you're like, right, that's done. Do you have a plan in your head of like what I can do next, or are you a bit?
Not really. It's like I'm quite good at saving now. I used to be a terrible saver, but save for this. So I try and save 2 months' wage, 3 months' wage on the side over the year, so I don't have to. You've had a long season. You don't really want to go and work.
No, what about like career-wise though?
Career-wise, well, I'm just waiting.
Wait for an offer.
Waiting for the offer. A lot of people might get offers as soon as the season's done, or what we're in now, we're in end of June now.
Yeah.
I ain't had an offer yet. You go and train in places, you go and trial, but it's just waiting for that phone to ring.
Yeah.
Your agent help out. And the phone don't ring.
Yeah.
You can't help that. You've got to think as well, how many clubs need goalies? Probably not loads, but there's probably triple the amount of goalies that need clubs.
Yeah,
so you're fighting for the same thing, and then it's some clubs, a lot of clubs don't want to pay people money. So they try and go, well, who can we get on the cheapest as well? Because it works for the club, and then it's like, how desperate are you?
Yeah, of course.
Do you want to take, sometimes example, sorry I didn't drop there, below minimum wage? Just to be just to play football, full-time football, and is it worth it? And people do it because what else can you do if you've done it for 5-6 years?
Yeah, it's mad.
It's mad, isn't it? I think it's funny because like the way you're talking about it is very, people who don't know, I'm freelance, right? Work on contracts, content creation, presenting. But there's always people who need that done. If you then said to me, right, but now it's narrowed down to supermarket content creation.
Yeah.
It's very limited.
Yeah.
Do you know
the
what I mean?
demand is so high with what you do.
Yeah, exactly. But if it wasn't, sometimes it's hard enough being freelance anyway. Do you know what I mean? Because like you said, the security's not there.
Yeah.
Then if you narrow that, if you try and think about narrowing your field down to as niche as it can be.
And then
scary,
also put into that imagine every kid growing up in the country has wanted to be a supermarket freelancer.
Yeah.
That is what it is.
Yeah.
Like, that's the competition of it.
Yeah.
It's mad.
That's mad, isn't it? So when, like, Lewis, when all your injuries came about, what did you think? Like, you must have been like, what am I going to do?
Yeah, when they first started, I didn't think that.
No.
But I suppose...
When did it become real?
I suppose once after like probably I'd had gone through it for like 6 years on and off, and I had the surgeries, and then sort of probably about a year after the surgeries, and they were still not great. Then you obviously start thinking, like what avenue did I want to go down in terms of like I was always going to keep doing my rehab to try and get my knees better, but like what would I do when the contract stops to get money in? But before that, I'd always like sort of think about what I'd wanted to do outside of football as well. Anyway, so I was sort of lined up with that in my head already. And then I basically, while I was doing my rehab probably for a good year, I just started coaching at the academy, and that gave me like a bit of breathing room to then look elsewhere and see exactly what I wanted to do. Yeah,
again, it's a lot to think about, isn't it? Yeah. But have you ever seen maybe younger players not saving, not doing anything on the side? Have you thought like in a couple of years you could be fucked?
Yeah, I've seen players do that, and I've seen like young players who would be on loads of money and then who like in the under 23s at Crystal Palace and splash it. Like really, splash all their money, and they were earning good money, but it's just like your career's not even guaranteed yet, especially not at the Premier League level. So what are you doing?
I was guilty of doing that when I was at Palace.
Really?
I was earning good money. I've never earned what I've earned when I was at Palace. Since I left Palace, it's gone lower, and lower.
Yeah.
Which is natural when you drop down the levels, and being at a Premier League academy, you do get
paid
reasonably well. But there'd be months where I'd be living paycheck to paycheck.
Really?
Just because I would just spunk it on stupid stuff.
Come on, what were you buying?
Like, honestly, like takeaways.
Just every day.
Like food, doing like a food shop. Instead of doing a weekly food shop budgeting, I was just going to buy my dinner every night at the local. And obviously nights out, holidays, clothes, shoes. I didn't drive, so I just get at the time like Ubers everywhere. Yeah. So it's not crazy stuff, but then before you know it, obviously I had rent as well to pay, so bills were always paid. Yeah. But then I wasn't thinking about saving. I was just enjoy the month and be like
most people would do, by the way.
And then I'm like, a week before payday, I go, ooh, got nothing left. I've got like 20 quid left to do.
You're always the guy for that, man.
I was,
really?
Yeah. Obviously, I'm way better now. The last few years, since I met my missus as well, she's made me a better saver. But I was just a young kid on my own and just not really knowing what I was doing. And then he'd tell you from experience how bad I was at it.
There was a footballer I was talking about. Ollie would know. I don't want to name him. He would earn I don't know. He was earning like at the start $7,000 a week, I think, and it might have even gone up to 15.
How old?
That's why I held a 15.
Yeah, 15 at like 18. Anyway, he'd come in like a new car every month, and I'm not talking like a new like A-class Mercedes. He'd come in like, I don't know, he had a G-Wagon once, and he had a like GLE, like Aston Martin. He just bought a gaff, like, and I'm thinking, and also by the way, this is completely off topic, but his mum would drive him in his car just so he didn't have to drive.
That's crazy work. But putting mummy in a GLE.
But then I was just thinking, like, obviously his career's not gone the way he expected, and probably like people around him expected. And it's like, I bet he fucking regrets that. Yeah. So people can just splash and get ahead of themselves too early.
It's easy though when that money's coming. You're going, in my head as well, 18, 19, 20. You're going, well, I'm earning this. I'm earning over 50, 60 grand a year now. When I'm actually making it, because I'm gonna make it.
Yeah, of course.
I'm easily going.
I can spend all this, and my money's just gonna go up.
Especially if you're at a place like Palace, like big club.
It don't matter. You think in London as well. You're going, this is the life. Before you know it, it don't work out. It don't happen. You're going, if only I was a bit smarter, could have a bit more in the bank, and all these regrets. But at the same time, you're young. You've got to make these mistakes to learn from.
Yeah, very true.
That is actually the mindset of 90% of footballers in that position. If you're a young pro at a Premier League club, let's say you're earning $1,000 a week, right? Just over 50k a year. You're happy to spend the money because in your head you're thinking, right, I know I'm going to get to a decent level because you rate yourself, and you think, right, 1 year, then that 1k a week can jump up to 15k. Yeah. And you're like, right, I can spend 1k a week. It's fucking easy. Like, I'm going to get 15 soon.
And I don't think you see in the media you don't really. You always see like, oh, I'm moving here to get a wage increase.
Yeah.
Or you'll obviously get a wage increase when you get a new contract. You don't think about it going down, do you?
No.
No, and that was a rude awakening. For
Yeah,
me.
yeah.
And then before it keeps going down, and then you learn to,
Of course,
adjust and everything like that. But it happens very quickly as well.
Yeah, but it does make sense.
Yeah.
When I get a little contract in on a Friday, I'm like, right, that's a new football shirt, that's a takeaway tonight, that's beers tomorrow. But if you're doing that with GLEs and designer clothes,
And
I can imagine it disappears quick.
And sorry, just also on that doesn't help as well. It's similar going back to sort of the comparing the different professions.
Mm-hmm.
Football is like everything's in reverse, right? So if you're a lawyer or a doctor, you work your way up from 18 to like, I don't know, a junior director, whatever.
Yeah.
And you get to where you want to be by like 40.
Mm-hmm.
And then that's what you're earning, your good money, and you're living like that. Footballer gives you the false sense of security because you're doing everything in reverse. You can reach the peak of your career at 26.
Yeah.
And the peak of your earning power at 26. Yeah. And then it's like, right, I've done all that, and now when you should really have your peak at like 35, you go down and you have no money. And you're almost trapped thinking, right, everything's going to go up and up and up.
Yeah.
And it doesn't. It stops.
Yeah.
And it's such a like mind fuck.
And I don't think doctors are doing bottle service and buying Goyard wallets. Do you know what I mean? Like,
well,
maybe they are.
Who's your doctors?
Doctors, shout out.
Well, they definitely shouldn't because it's a waste of money. I learned the hard way. What a waste of money.
That is a lesson learned, which actually brings us on to financial education in football.
Yeah.
You talked about these players that are splashing at 18. Is there not someone, a professional, going, let's stop this now and let's invest some money?
There is people would come in once a
week
and speak
on different topics. Yeah.
I just think that's really good.
Yeah.
But the issue is, no one listens.
Yeah, they come in when we're 16, 17 with like maybe 6 months into our first full-time year.
Yeah.
And we've got all that naive mindset of like,
of course.
I don't need to think about this because I'm going to make it.
And it's after a long day of training, you're tired, you just want to go home.
Yeah,
you're like, it's in a hot
room,
really in a hot classroom, you're like,
when they tell us we have someone in, we would be fucking fuming.
Yeah.
Like,
really?
Because we'd have like a triple session and then like we've got to sit there for an hour when we could just be going home.
Yeah.
But they come and they tell you about this amount of people don't make it, go bankrupt when they finish their career. And so it's really good points. But one, I think you're too young to understand it. And two, it's a long day, you don't want to listen. And then at that age, you don't listen.
Yeah,
you don't want to listen. You go, I know it, or this, that, and the other. Then before you know it,
you think I should have listened.
You should listen, but it's too late. You're young. And I don't know how you can counteract that. I don't know if clubs should do a thing. I don't know if it's legally right. If they take a percentage of each person's wage to put a save away from them, I don't know what you can do to change
I don't think the clubs will ever be able to do that.
No, I don't think
so. It's a family's job.
But they need to try, and there has to be something out there that does that.
I was going to say,
to help them.
Should parents not be in on them lessons?
Yeah, potentially. That's a good shout.
My parents were on it with me, but
parents can be more delusional than the kids sometimes.
That's it. But like, my parents from day one were like, save money, do this, do that, and I'd save it.
Yeah.
And then I'd
spend it.
So I'd save, but
that's not saving, Ollie.
Yeah, so that's it. But I'd save for like 2 or 3 months, go school, and then I was like, we want to go on holiday. Boom, there's the holiday gone. Or
that's the money.
Or I need to take a little bit out for this, but I pull it back. And you don't put it back, so. My parents, or most parents, probably would be like that. But if I still had the responsibility for the money, if the money's still in my account and I'm just putting it into a savings account, well, I can access that anytime I want. The way to do it would have been if I had to try and transfer X amount out to a different account that I don't have access to, I would have saved a lot more and only got it for emergencies. But if it's still in my account, even if it's in a different, it's for savings account, I'm still going to spend it at that age you are.
Or say to the club, give me this X amount in this account, X amount in this account.
Yeah.
But, the one thing I think helps with them talks is we'd have it a couple of times where ex-players would come in.
I can imagine that really helps.
Yeah,
that helps. Yeah,
literally experienced it. It'd be better if it was players we knew, like high-profile players. It weren't always high-profile, but I remember there was a player that come in for like when they were talking about you can't bet on football.
Yeah,
and this player was went to prison for 18 months and he was an ex-Palace Academy player. So that like resonates because he was a Palace Academy player.
Yeah.
He was a pro footballer. Then he had to go in prison because he was gambling on football and fixing matches. So stuff like that would help, like getting ex-players in.
But if you're getting just a normal person in,
an accountant,
it'd be saying really good points, but you'd just be like,
no.
But I think that's the attitude you have when you're younger, isn't it? Like when you're meant to revise and you don't revise because I'll be fine.
Yeah,
and then you're not fine.
Yeah, exactly. And they all everyone they'd come in and say like all the different topics. Obviously, like finances, like look after your finances and save up basically.
Yeah.
It'd be find what you like outside of football, ready for after, and then it'd be like obviously the rules of like just be careful, like focus on not drinking, eating well, and obviously like the match fixing, stuff like that.
Yeah, that's heavy, isn't it?
Yeah.
Was there anyone around that time trying to give like bad financial advice or trying to get you in on investment? Do you know what I mean? Like invest in my business and it's bad, or put some money into Bitcoin and it goes wrong. Did you have any of that when you were younger?
Not like officially, like you get people messaging you and stuff like that.
Get messages, all come invest in this property, this or this and that, and I would ignore
But everyone gets that these days now.
Yeah, I get that.
Yeah, exactly.
But that was it. But no one ever came into the club on a professional basis to say any dodgy stuff or anything.
Once you'd get, I imagine, to like a higher profile, there'd be all like you get people coming in and just like really like trying to pitch different ideas to you.
I can imagine some people get stiffed by that.
Yeah, and you hear of ones that like big high profile names have invested into companies that have then gone bust in like 6 months.
Yeah.
And stuff like that. But no, I've never really had that sort of stuff. Obviously, your agents will sort of advise you with like my agency put me with a financial advisor.
Nice.
So you sort of trust them more.
Your agency?
My agency.
That's good.
Yeah,
that's good.
Yeah.
Mine didn't do that.
Yeah,
that's smart.
Yeah.
That is smart. Did you listen?
Yeah, I still put money into that account to this day.
Quality.
Yeah.
So it's
Quality.
smart. That is.
Can we have a look at that account?
If you want.
Nice. Did you have anyone like your mates from school? Did you see any difference in them because they knew you were a Crystal Palace academy and probably earning good money? Did you see any like switch up from people close to you?
You mean like, go on, can you sort this night out?
Yeah. Or like, mate, lend me 200 quid and they don't give it back.
No. I've had that before, but I don't think it's because I was a footballer. I was on a holiday and we shared the same room.
Okay, right.
Yeah. But no, my mates aren't like that. They'd be if someone was like that, then
they're not your mate.
Yeah, time to jump.
No one done that with me.
Yeah.
And then it makes you want to do it more out of anyway when people don't ask.
Yeah.
So yeah, no.
I've got a couple of like closing thoughts.
Yes.
One, what's the biggest misconception fans still have about footballer salaries today?
I think they obviously get told this information, but I still think they think it's like a guaranteed wage.
Yeah, I think when I hear, and again, we are not saying that after taxes and everything it's still not good, but when I hear 200 grand, I think, well, he's only 200 grand a week.
Yeah, and you also think that's him for his career, when it's like that could be for 1 year.
Yeah.
He could get sold the next year, and then it's like he could drop it like so. Yeah, go on.
So that's why like Jadon Sancho at the minute, Matt doesn't want to leave Man United. He's on 350 grand a week.
Yeah.
He knows he's not going to earn that anywhere else. So why would you? And people hate him for it, and I get the hate. But I think if 90% of people in his shoes, they wouldn't walk away from that money.
Yeah.
Even if he is already a millionaire, already got money. But at the end of the day, it's a job.
Yeah.
We all work to earn a good wage to afford a comfortable life and have nice things.
And they know you always think it's like it could end, and the top players will be thinking that as well.
Yeah, of course. And I think someone like Jadon Sancho, who's not had a good couple of years, if he's on 350k, other clubs aren't offering him more than like 150, are they?
No way.
And that's a big drop. And again, 150 is ridiculous. However,
money,
if you're on a 100k corporate job,
yeah,
and then, which is for some people, unbelievable money.
Yeah.
And then they say, all right, you can't work here anymore, go and work at other place for 40k.
Yeah.
40k is still nice.
Yeah.
But it's the difference from what you've had.
That's only still going to be guaranteed for that 40k for like maybe 1 or 2 years.
Yeah.
That could drop again and again and again.
Yeah.
So I get why people hate it, but that's why I have no issue if football's going to Saudi. Because it's a job. It's tax-free job, but it's a job, and it's a very short career, like we've been saying, and we all work to earn money, no matter whether you're a footballer, a doctor, a shop assistant. We all work to earn money. So we all want to earn as much money as we can, as quickly as we can, and so these footballers are doing it, and they're switched on to know they may never earn this money again. So why waste the opportunity?
The people who hate against stuff like that, like taking it for the money, are the people that first of all are jealous that because they don't earn that much money.
Well, 100%, I say it all the time.
But I feel like it's the people that are jealous and like just aren't happy with their they just aren't happy with their own career, I suppose.
Yeah, I do, but I also think there's a big thing of, because we've grown up in England, right, or UK, sorry.
Yeah.
So the Premier League is the best, right? So we just assume that every footballer ever wants to play in the Premier League.
Yeah.
But they don't.
Yeah, they might
Do you know
not.
what I mean? That's
not the case.
Not the case. Have we ever asked Ollie the Saudi question?
Oh, should we ask him?
Let's ask him.
Should we end on that?
Yeah, let's end on the Saudi question.
Right, Ollie, we had this question on the pod maybe a month ago, and
big debates in the comments.
It went off, millions of views. So you're, let's say, 21. Yeah. This is a 8-year contract. Would you take 300k a week in Saudi on that contract, or 30k a week at a Premier League club?
300k a week at Saudi.
So that's like your whole bulk of your career at Saudi.
Yeah, no problem at all. I come back
laughing.
I'd be smart with my money, and that's, in my opinion, that's generational wealth.
Yeah.
For my kids, kids. Hopefully, if I'm smart with it. And that changes my whole bloodline.
Yeah.
That 8 years.
The wealth.
So why wouldn't I do it? I'm still playing.
That's like, obviously 30k a week is still a good wage.
It's still brilliant.
And playing in the Prem, I'd imagine you'd prefer to play in the Prem over Saudi.
I would, yeah. But
the money talks.
I think the money, and then you're still playing football. Nice life out there.
Yeah.
I just don't see why.
I agree with you.
I just don't see why you wouldn't take that.
Do you know what's so funny? You two and Ken, the 3 footballers, all went to Saudi.
Yeah.
I'm staying in the Prem.
Yeah, that says it, man.
I think most footballers, they'd say Saudi.
Yeah.
Most fans will say Premier League.
Yeah.
Which I get.
Because it's it's 270k a week difference.
Yeah, by the way, I completely get your answer.
52k, 52 times that.
Well,
yeah, tax free. So it's actually more than that. But yeah, 52k times, 285k difference.
Yeah, you know, the more I think about it,
bro, I'm gaining 285k a week on you.
Might be playing Prem, but you could easily get relegated to be champ before you know it.
Yeah,
that's true.
But then you get a move and 150 grand a week Prem
which I would, obviously.
Yeah, but I just think it's at the end of the day, it's a job.
And then in the Club World Cup, I'd be playing for City, you'd be playing for Al Hilal, and we'd beat you.
Yeah, but I'd be.
You'd throw some money at me at the end. Like, wipe your tears.